bitch. Let's go.
Welcome back to another episode, motherfuckers. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel John Toohey.
This is Invasion of Potty Snatchers, and this week we're talking about the crazy motherfucking stop motion animated 30 years in the making by the master Phil Tippet himself. Mad God. Noel, you brought this to the table. You made us dine on this insane fucking meal. Talk to us, brother.
I don't know if we've seen a movie or it's just like mass hysteria, shared psychosis.
I think I had an acid flashback from my early 20s or so.
I think if you were on acid and seen this, it would fix you.
Or break you irreparably.
They're like, I do not know what the plot was. I'm sorry, I do not know. But I was absolutely gobsmacked by how beautiful it was and how crazy it was. And you could just know that everything was. I was even there's one scene where it just kind of like does this kind of panoramic view of these kind of underground like pipes and stuff. I remember I said to Sheila when I was watching, I said, do you know just how painstaking, like that 3 seconds, you know how painstaking that would have been?
Yeah.
Like every little nook and cranny and little cobweb and the little creature that just kind of goes by unannounced. And I'm just thinking, my God, like the love. That stop animation, I always loved it. Like Coraline is one of my favorite films. I
fucking disturbing movie.
Exactly. But because stop motion is a labor of love. It's a little art form in and of itself. And this just took it to a dark and crazy place. And I loved it. But maybe one viewing's enough for a long time.
I think I said to you in conversation was the last time I saw something that really kind of struck me in the same way with Salad Fingers, like how fucking weird and messed up it is. You know what I mean? Like it just for the first
never explains itself. And it refuses.
Hubert Cumberdale. I like it when the red water comes out. Like fucking Salad Fingers is disturbing. Maybe
I shan't play with you until I love when Salad Fingers kills a bug and he goes, "Oh, you're all dirty. I shan't play with you until you've had a wash."
Oh man, that's fucking disturbing. Like this movie, it like I had no idea what it was about. I didn't watch any trailers going in, didn't even look at any shots or any stills.
And for you, that's a bit rare.
Yeah, like exactly. Like I'd never even heard of this movie. I think I heard Phil Tippett had recently done a movie, and I know of him obviously from his work in Jurassic Park and lots of other fucking movies. Anytime you have movie knowledge and you need to name out movies on the spot is where your movie knowledge literally deserts you in a moment. But I know for a fact you know what I mean. But I know for a fact he worked on Jurassic Park. But I heard he had a movie in the making. I didn't know it was Mad God. I didn't know this was Phil Tippett's movie until actually after the credits rolled, pretty much. Because I'm not sure if I seen his name. I recognize his name at the end, if that makes any sense. I could have seen his name at the beginning, but because everything was so crazy, what was going on in front of me, I planned to 60% watch this movie and do some like MDK shit on the side. 5 minutes into the film, I turned off my laptop and put it away. I was like,
yes,
this is a movie I feel like I need to give 120% attention to, otherwise I will be completely lost.
And even that, it's still a fool's errand. It's
like the only way I can describe it is if anyone hasn't seen this movie is that it's we already touched on stop animation, all that kind of cool stuff, but it's pretty much a post-apocalyptic world. It's kind of talking about I don't know, just like these creatures.
No word is spoken.
Yeah, no word is spoken. There's no dialogue.
Word is spoken. Even there's a speaker, like talking over overseas, and it's just
gibberish.
Exactly.
Yeah. So like it's pretty much a post-apocalyptic world. There's humanity is pretty much dead, except for a few doctors that seem to be doing experiments on the last remnants of existence, and these last remnants of existence seem to be used as food, fuel, anything. They're just being pretty much crushed under this massive industrialized post-apocalyptic world. There's like steamrollers, and there's all these weird mutants and aliens, and how it kind of kicks off is we follow the guy, and I did a little bit of research at the end of the movie. It's called Protagonist. I think his name's not Protagonist. I can't actually remember his fucking name, but he's a dude with a gas mask, and you think he's going to be the main
hazmat, like a hazmat suit. It appears like absolutely.
I'm going to get this up on IMDb, but like pretty much this dude who you feel like is going to be the main protagonist, he's actually one, and he's in it for the first 20 minutes maybe, and then after the first 20 minutes he gets taken over by a monster Cut to, he's on a fucking like medical exam table. These two doctors come in and start dissecting this motherfucker.
And he's full of jewelry.
Yeah. What the fuck is that all about?
What was that like?
Man, this
It's
fucking movie
full of jewelry. Like,
man, it's beyond explanation. I'm going to see if I can.
But like, it seemed like before he got taken out, what he'd done is he'd gone down to the deepest depths he could, and he planted a bomb.
Yeah, because I think they're trying to overthrow their rulers.
Whatever it was, whatever in every sense of the word, not like an authority, a creature, whatever is in charge of this dystopia.
Yeah,
and the bomb doesn't go off. The bomb seems to be a bit of a dud. It keeps getting caught in that 1 second.
Yeah,
and then then there's that segment in the middle where it's people. There's actors actually in it. It's just very strange.
The doctors that bring the baby or bring something as a sacrifice, like a baby or something.
Yeah. Or it's like a spine lizard creature. Like,
the thing that came out. I just checked the names. There's 2 characters are the assassin. 2 people played the assassin, the first guy. And see, this movie was shot over 30 years. So there's actually 3 different people.
Breaks my brain.
3 different people actually played the assassin, obviously over the years, and
but think about it, like Kurt Cobain, Nirvana were playing gigs, and some of this movie was being made, and you know what I mean. And now we're just sitting here in 2022, and the movie's been finished. It just breaks my brain that somebody stuck with it. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's got an interesting story, Phil Tippet, because like when he was working on Jurassic Park, initially all of Jurassic Park was going to be stop motion animation. If anyone knows, obviously Jurassic Park, that what it did better than anyone in the early 90s was the CGI. And you're going to wonder how those 2 are connected. Well, when you watch how the movies that made it on Netflix, they show that at this time, these guys that were actually pretty much on the cutting edge of CGI said that we can build a dinosaur in a computer. And they're like, no, you can't. And Phil Tippett was like, no, stop motion animation is the way to do it. And eventually they were able to actually build the Brontosaurus, the Brachiosaurus, whatever, the Plodicus, all these different creatures in a computer. They brought it up to the people, ILM or someone, I think it was, and it passed muster. And it pretty much became this case that Phil Tippett was still contracted to work on the movie, but stop motion animation was starting to be kind of phased out. And so he kind of came in and worked with the CGI guys and all about movement and all this kind of shit. So that's kind of the thing that like maybe this labor of love is his like almost his swan song to stop motion animation, because like 30 years is gone. Like if you look at the trajectory, when did he start thinking about this movie? When Jurassic Park was after being made.
That's what I mean. Like,
you know what I mean?
Terminator 2 is the biggest film in the world. It's only a year out of cinema. It's like oh my god, like it's just it just breaks my brain.
I just thinking like that maybe after Jurassic Park he said, I want to make a labor of love that's the true qualities of stop motion animation. This is not an archaic, a medium. Like it's far from it. Like look since 1982, Wallace and Gromit. Like, you know what I mean? Like one of my favorite stop motion animations is fucking Wallace and Gromit.
Took 5 years, and that would have had. See, here's the thing: like on stop motion, unlike an awful lot of other things, it's too many chefs.
Yeah.
Like eventually, you literally just need somebody who knows exactly what needs to be done, doing almost everything.
Yeah.
You know, like you set the scene up, but I know how I want Coraline to move, so I'm going to have to position her, picture, position, picture. Yeah, I have to do it.
It's quicker now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh God, I'm sure that
because the computers and stuff, like, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But the love that goes on. And this movie was, and I know this is kind of a bullshit cliche term to throw around, uncompromising. I don't think he did not make a movie for us.
Oh, 100%. It's kind of like when
made it for himself. Yeah, it's like shit. What you think?
It's like when a classic band comes back, you know music better than me, but it's like, just imagine Tool haven't released an album in 20 years. And in the background, they've been working on like 12 different songs that they never released.
Did. Just the other year, like the release of an album for the first time in 13 and a half years.
You know what I mean? Fuck, I was on it there, wasn't I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just picked Tool because I know they're random as fucking times.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But it's true, but then you're just kind of like, wow, this, but like, again, the reason they're a good example as well was when I heard that album, I was like, that was for them.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
And if fans like it, that's great. But if they start, like, you see what happens with the Metallicas and stuff, where they try to keep up with current trends, they end up disenfranchising fans. So this guy said, look, I don't care. I like his career, his place in the, I don't know, like for the people who actually know films like you and the people behind the camera, his place, he's got an Oscar, he's sorted. This is something that he was going to see to the end.
Yeah, and the thing is, he probably has the reputation, and everybody understands his mastery, that he can see something. He worked on RoboCop, Starship Troopers, Jurassic Park, Star Wars, Episode 6. What else did he work on?
Episode 6.
He worked on the Twilight movies.
That would have been
Spiderwick Chronicles.
Return of the Jedi would have been Episode 6, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
No, you're right. Return to Jedi. Yeah, Jesus Christ, my Star Wars maths are off. He worked on RoboCop 2 and Man Willow. He worked on all
RoboCop 2. He would have been the bad robot was, I can't think of his name. Was to put the brain of the bad guy in a robot.
Oh
yeah. And it was very stop motiony. So like,
yeah, he worked on all the RoboCops. He worked on Willow, The Golden Child, Howard the Duck, Indiana Jones. Like, this dude is a fucking legend.
Well, that's it. So now he could take a shit on film, and it doesn't matter. Like, his place in the pantheon is secure. So you made something for him, and it was just this fever dream. But the work in it is incredible.
Yeah, the artistry.
Visuals in it is incredible. Yeah. And it's not like, I didn't really think much of the plot. The whole thing was that you weren't really supposed to fully understand what was happening.
Yeah, I think
it was supposed to mess with you, and it did.
Yeah, like, I haven't seen anything like this before. Like, it's crazy. Like, a couple of times.
That I guaranteed you. This is why when I was messaging you, I was saying, look, all I can promise you is that you haven't seen this before. Yeah,
exactly. Like, a couple of times I literally had to rewind like a sequence just to make sense of it. You know what I mean? I was just like, because one thing I pride myself on, no matter how complicated or how convoluted a movie is, I nearly always know exactly what's going on at any given time. Whether I'm giving it 100% attention or 6% attention, I always know exactly what's going on at any given time. Like, I always zone in enough to understand.
A little bit of pride in the podcast is always, you can't go, wait a minute, I'm not actually 100% sure why this character, I thought this character had gone with the other guy.
Yeah.
Back 40 seconds, 50 seconds.
Yeah.
I drifted away. There's something about, and it might be important. Yeah. But like,
it's like, I looked at my messenger for a second on Facebook.
Yeah. And this film, you're like, okay, man, I'm trying my best here.
Yeah.
But like, they took all the jewelry out, and then they took the spiny creature thing, and then they juiced it.
Yeah.
Like in a jam kind of press.
Man, like, what the fuck? I looked away for a second, and like, the dude was getting dissected, and I was like, wait, is that the dude with the gas mask? And then I had to rewind it, because I didn't see him getting taken out. And because
he just gets run over by one of those giant-footed monster things. Yeah. And those mossy people that we were talking about last night before we were recording.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird, man. Like, I don't know where or how he came up with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, like, when I watch a movie, you can understand like what they're trying or what the motivation was behind it. But I'd love to know and sit down with him and have a chat and go, what made you go this direction with the movie? Like, the visuals there are beautiful and all this, and I would have loved to see maybe a slightly more coherent narrative. But like, it caught my attention, and I held it for pretty much an hour and a half.
What's the man's name? Phil Pippin or Phil Tippin? Tippet.
Yeah.
I was just like, Mr. Tippet, why? That'd be it. Like, open-ended question. Why? You know?
And he's probably like, because I wanted to.
Yeah, why not? Like,
exactly.
And somebody like with his resume, fuck you. That's why. And that was a perfectly acceptable answer.
Yeah, it's so fucked up. And then you have like, I think it's kind of like there's 2 or 3 stories. Each act has its own story almost. You know what I mean? And because there's like, is there the alchemist or something that's later on, and then there's like some weird creation.
Is the alchemist the actual human that you see with the nails? And
no, that's the last human. He's the guy that's actually sending out the assassin and the alchemist.
Yes. Okay.
He seemingly, like, what I've picked up, because I read an article about this movie afterwards. I'm not even gonna lie. That seemingly he's the last human, and he's sending out these dudes to destroy these creatures that have taken over the world, or some subjugated humanity or some shit. I think that's the closest understanding I got from it. That the last human is the guy with the long nails, and he's sending out these assassins and the alchemist and these dudes.
Yeah, I think they've given up on the world below. All they could do was destroy it. They were in some sort of cloud city or something, because they were presenting this literal pod.
Yeah.
And they were like winding it down. And but this is all just stuff that you're gleaming together. And it's supposed to mess with you. It's supposed to mess. Like, look, all you can say is, did a film meet its objectives? This film, I feel like, met every single one of its objectives perfectly. But it didn't fall into the conventional, like, did we make it as entertaining as we could? And he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Did the storyline make sense? Fuck no.
There's supposed to be a storyline,
but they didn't feel like it was trying to.
It's
You know what I always say this to you.
unapologetic.
You know when you're watching a cheesy film, like, and there's this little bit of self-awareness.
Yeah.
That makes you forgive it an awful lot. But when a film thinks, like the second Transformer movie, the last time I watched a Transformers movie, when they start killing Optimus, I go back to this example a few times, and they start killing Optimus, and all of a sudden the music changes to sad, and it gets slow motiony, and I went, no,
Yeah.
you haven't earned this.
Yeah.
This is out of place. I don't give a fuck if he dies.
Yeah.
No,
but you should, because it's up
and you
frame.
should, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an 80s baby, of course.
Yeah.
But
1880s, you old bastard. Yeah, human relic, yeah.
It's hard to feel that way. But but I don't. And that self-awareness, this film was nothing but self-awareness.
Yeah. Oh man.
He wasn't trying to be anything that's not. He didn't do this. He's not trying to get Oscars out of this or anything like that.
He could get an Oscar out of it.
Could some sort of the lesser known categories, the visual.
Yeah, the animated one even.
Yeah, the animated one. It's an absolute lunacy.
Yeah.
But if you don't like, it's one of those films where art is subjective and movies are subjective, and you kind of like, oh, I didn't like this film, and I like this film. You go, all right, fine, that's your opinion. But if you didn't like this film, it's like, I don't think it's about liking or not liking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't. I think it sits outside of that paradigm. I don't think it's trying to introduce itself that way.
I think if someone could say to me, I didn't like this film, I could say, I don't think you could say, I don't like it, like the way you said it. I think you're better off saying, I didn't understand the movie.
Yeah.
That kind of way, because I think that's a fair criticism. Someone says to me, I didn't understand it, so I didn't like it. And I said, it's not that you didn't like it then, it's just that you didn't really understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like I could say, like I didn't really understand it at times, and I'm sure many people are.
Inception is always a go-to for that, isn't it?
Yeah.
As in, people just kind of got Tenet, and I would fall into the category in Tenet where I didn't like it, but it's probably fair to say that I didn't understand it.
Do you remember Chris Nolan used to make good movies?
I recall, but Chris
Interstellar Nolan. Bullshit. Space Ghost, really? Space Ghost? Is that what you're firing at me? Interdimensional Space Ghost, Chris Nolan. Is that what you're firing at me?
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, in Tenet, like the way he walks through a puddle to get dry and like sound is moving, shouldn't light come out of your eyes? Shouldn't you be blind or something? I mean, there's so many.
Shouldn't your skin be on the inside of your body?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I kind of got a headache. Kind of go, no, there's no.
Shouldn't the entire world be upside down?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Shouldn't Australia be in the North Pole? You know what I mean?
Australia doesn't exist.
My
brother lives there in
I doubt it. Your brother, the sleeper agent,
the sleeper agent,
the one that's obviously propagating this fucking Australia lie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like,
I haven't seen him in like 15 years, and now he's somehow in his 30s. Even though the last time I saw him, I don't know, man, doesn't make sense.
That doesn't add up to me. Like, to me, it sounds like he was actually probably brought to a cloning farm. You know what I mean?
Keep it simple.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was going to say his name on air, and I was like, wait, that's not my place to do, huh?
Yeah.
So, like, what really struck me that he might not be human is his name is 001670, but whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're sending out that his name is definitely a code name, that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? I honestly, like, but his name is code name Toohey.
Don't forget your brother Zachary. That's the way my family always talks. It's a bit of an odd one.
Don't forget your brother Broken Arrow. Wait, what?
He moved over there for sports reasons.
Yeah, you find out you're in a family like in Black Widow, your whole family's false, and you're all
that's it. Yeah.
The best part of my life was a lie.
And then Christopher Nolan, or what's the twist guy?
M. Night Shyamalan.
Then I find out I'm also a clone, and I was supposed to figure out I'm a clone, and I'm still part of the plan or something.
Clone John.
But my God, man, if you were, the way we ask each other, would you recommend this film? What would you say on it? I'm going to go a different route. I'm a random person, just whatever you picture as the most average person, average taste in films, all of that kind of stuff. How would you sell this movie to me? I'm looking for a movie to watch.
I would say about Mad God, right? Like, it has no dialogue, whatever, right? That can be a bit off-putting for people. But if you want to see a film that is sheer artistry, like if you want to look at the apex of a medium, like when you look at
That's
specific,
brilliant.
when
I'm
you look
sorry,
at,
I don't want to
yeah,
pat your back too much, but
yeah,
apex of a medium is an excellent expression.
when you look at different mediums like the apex CGI or practical effects, like the thing, if you want to look at the apex of a specific medium or a genre or a little niche inside of films, look at Mad God, because this is the pinnacle of what stop motion animation can do. It's incredibly intricate. The soundtrack's incredible. The visuals are next level. The storyline is definitely wanting, but I don't think he even wanted to focus on it. Yeah, I think he was trying to encapsulate the confusion of this world that these creatures are living in by showing this like almost, and also trying to capture the almost the pointlessness of existence, because no matter how much of a fantastic life you live, you're living in one direction, and that's to death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No one here gets out alive. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I just think it's trying to capture all these different things, the senselessness of existence, the pointlessness of life, but at the same time, he never shies away from showing how talented he is as a creator. He never obviously he challenged himself in ways that he probably never challenged himself before. Look at those fucking smokestacks, the backdrop, the fucking intricacies in the design of the industrialized nature of the world that these characters living in, the assassin, the alchemist, the last human, all this kind of stuff. Like everything about this movie is awe-inspiring in lots of ways. It shows you what you can do with body language, with visuals, with soundtrack without any kind of need for dialogue. And it can also show you how you can be really, really unsettling with people by pairing strange sound effects with weird visuals, like that weird mouth on the screen that was making baby noises. That shit is going to haunt me for the rest of my fucking life.
Yeah,
and it's like very Orwellian.
That's what you said. Is at least I know what my nightmares are going to be for the next month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Man, like,
but you actually touched upon some really good stuff there, I have to say, because a lot of the times it was like, this done right. Now I was about to say, when I didn't know who this guy was, I'm not as a behind the camera guy as you are. You've always had me beaten there in spades. It's just not, it doesn't interest me quite as much. I always find it interesting when I'm being told stuff in conversation.
I just hope to make a movie someday, so I need to learn.
But when I was watching this, I knew I was watching some film made by somebody who was not trying to prove anything to anybody.
Yeah, you can feel you can feel the ego in it almost.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I said. He didn't shy away from showing his artistry. Like it's like a Picasso or something. It's just like, oh, you don't like.
It just went abstract. He didn't have to put it into a very confined, like RoboCop 2. I'm sure it was great to work on, but he didn't come at the end of it and go, "That was my art." RoboCop 2 was a silly film. Like
that was my paycheck.
Yeah, that was my paycheck. And there you go, like, and then he was like, this is, it's abstract, it's off the walls, but it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, you don't get it. That's fine. But I felt like I needed to do this.
Extremely intense.
Extremely intense.
Yeah, like, and it will definitely never let you settle. That's one thing about this whole movie. Like, anytime you think you're settling into some sort of groove, it just knocks you straight back over with some weird, like, it'll kill off the main character, it'll do this, it'll do that. Yeah. Like 30 minutes in the first, like, that's what I'm saying. I think this movie is almost 3 separate movies. It was probably like each part took almost 10 years to make or something. Yeah. So it was almost like, because like the first part was almost like its own movie, and that ended with him being killed and dissected. And then that creature was taken out of him, and then that was offered up as a sacrifice. And then the next story started where you see the alchemist at the edge of civilization, pretty much, and he's working his way in. And then he gets killed as well, doesn't he?
I can't recall. I just remember him sending another guy down, and he had big, long, fucked up nails, and he was messing with shit. I mean, like it just came back to me when you were talking there. At one point, Sheila, like we were having a drink and we were watching, and she goes, "Oh, too much beer, need to pop out and need to go for a wee. Tell me what I miss." She comes back in like a minute later and she goes, "What did I miss?" And I said, Are you trying to be funny? Like, what did you mean? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's like, you missed me being confused while I was drinking this beer, waiting for you to come back from the toilet.
It was like a chase scene, and it was kind of cool. It was kind of more actiony than some of the stuff that preceded it. Yeah. Don't ask me to explain it to you.
Yeah, like the part at the end where it's like the civilization is building back up from an exploded planet or some shit.
Yeah.
I was just like,
really ethereal.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a bit at the end of 2001 Space Odyssey, where I can remember the first time I seen that movie, I was like, oh, I was loving it up until the last 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? First of all, I said the part where he flies into deep space needs to be an epileptic warning put up there severely, because I was watching, I was like, holy shit, if I had epilepsy
Probably
now.
one of the reasons we actually had to start using epileptic warnings.
Yeah, man.
You know, it probably was one of the things that predated it and caused.
Yeah,
problems.
man.
It
Fucking
was
hell.
Yeah.
Like that's the ending of it for me. That's what I felt like 2001 Space Odyssey, where it was like it felt to me like he was trying to, I know, convey some sort of beautiful philosophical message about creation and death and the life cycle or something, but I just 100% could not grasp it. Like when I was watching 2001 Space Odyssey, the first time I watched it, I was like, it seems to me like he's trying to talk to me about death and life and creation and all these different things and all these massively profound kind of expressions of self or whatever, if you want to say that. But it took me second viewing to kind of grasp really what he was talking about. And to me, with Mad God, maybe I'll watch it again. It's very intense. It's very heavy. It's an exhausting experience, and it's beautifully done. Like, but it is exhausting. It does hold you captive. But at the end, it seemed like he was trying to convey messages that he didn't. Like, the ending to me was the only part that was kind of lacking in terms of its storytelling conveyance, if that makes any sense. Because I kind of got what was going on with the first two sections with the assassin, the alchemist. But the last part,
it was like loosey goosey, but you felt like you were like, okay.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, I had
don't ask me to write an essay.
Yeah,
but I'm with
you.
Yeah,
but I could 100% tell you though the assassin dude was trying to go in and blow up a place.
Yes, and he was trying to get as deep as he could. He kept going down to sections, and he kept kind of going down, and he kept going down, he kept going down.
Yeah,
and obviously he was trying to take this fucker out from the root.
Yeah,
or as close to it as he could get. I could
understand. So I figured that he's obviously the enemies of the guys that built this facility. That's something I could understand. Then he gets taken out and it was like obviously like a guard dog or some shit. And then he gets dissected. I'm like, all right, I can understand that.
And he's full of jewelry.
He's full of and they start pulling the jewelry out. And the creature I figure is these
and like an enormous amount of jewelry, by the way. Like an enormous amount.
Like he was eating it.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, an exorbitant amount, like more than the entire mass of
yeah. So it was fucked up, and he's kind of alive during his dissection, which is really fucking insane. And do all these mad close-ups of his eyeball and stuff like that. And it's a very fucked up movie. Like but it's beautiful to look at. The sound effects, soundtrack, awesome. Like it's hard to put into words what this movie is about, really. Like if you're listening to this episode, I really hope you've seen it, because it's hard to talk about this movie without spoilers, because literally there's no real plot. So all you're doing is talking about the main beats, and the main beats that happened was what we spoke about: the guy getting taken, him getting dissected, all the jewelry, this parasitic creature being extracted from him, being offered up to some sort of deity space creature or some shit, wasn't it? Yeah. And that was cool.
But then it was kind of juiced and killed and drank or consumed or some shit.
Yeah, it was blended or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. I remember this like spiky press thing.
Yeah,
just comes down and crushes it into some sort of jam.
Yeah,
it got really, really, really obscene.
Who do they inject it into a baby or something? No,
I'm trying to remember.
This fucking days now. Yeah, I think if we'd recorded probably straight after this movie, we'd still be the same.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah,
and honestly, like, because we have like said, oh, we're going to do this, and then I watch the movie, and then like life is other plans.
Yeah, and like 4 days later you record something.
Yeah, so like, but sometimes like something might just say, hey, what if we do this and this, and it gets pushed. I'm just going to make up a number, 8 days. Yeah, and then I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah,
I'm going to miss the beats.
Yeah,
I'll watch it again. I'll half watch it even, because I know I just need the crash course.
It's like a long previously.
Exactly. Yeah, and this, I'm sorry, but in my brain, I didn't. There was no part of me that kind of went, well, actually, no, it's been a week. You should probably go. No, all part of my brain told me that. Even sitting here now, it's the first time I've even thought about it.
Yeah, I think I was like literally exhausted after watching it. Like, and
it does. I mean, she'd have said that. It actually took something from us, and not in a bad way. Like,
it's because you're trying so hard.
It took us somewhere. Yeah, and we traveled, and we were a little bit tired.
Yeah, I think you were just. It's exhausting because you're trying so hard to try figure out the narrative. And like with any movie, 90% of your brain attention goes up to you trying to keep up with the narrative and try to understand the storyline. And when you have a movie that's so random, that's so disjointed. In at appearance or face value, it seems very disjointed. And I'm sure when Phil Tippet was writing this, that he knew what he was aiming for. And maybe he didn't. Maybe it evolved over the 30 years. I don't know what way it was constructed in terms of the script, but I'm sure there was some sort of meaning to the story for him. But trying to figure it out as a viewer and one-time viewing is fucking exhausting. It really is. And trying to figure out exactly what this world is, who these characters are, and all this kind of thing. It is exhausting. Like, and that's what I said. I rewound it 2 or 3 times because I like look at my phone, I'd look up and then there's a brand new character, like in a brand new storyline. I'm like, well, what's going on? What happened to this dude?
If I was like some sort of film teacher art course thingy kind of guy, I would make my students watch this film and write a thesis on it because I hate them.
Yeah, it's just like, did we get it right? Did we understand it correct? He's like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, no, I was actually talking to Tippet, so I know. If you don't get it right, I'm going to fail you.
He's going to tip it the scales in my direction.
Yeah, exactly.
But like,
why? Because I hate you.
Oh, man. Like, what? Like, before we get the fuck out of here, what is your one takeaway from Mad God? Like, what? Like, actually, I'll ask you one question, but it's 2, if you know what I'm saying. What is your one takeaway in terms of what did you feel it really conveyed as a story, and what was your favorite thing about it?
Right. What do I feel it conveyed as a story? I felt like it was somebody with nothing to prove getting something off their chest and showing that when I'm let loose, I can create fucking worlds. You might not understand them, but I can create fucking worlds. Yeah. And he did. And my biggest kind of takeaway from it was that it is so rare that you see something truly remarkably new. Yeah, like me and you gave like A Quiet Place a lot of props, and I stand by them because it was like that's kind of like a really good take on a sensory deprivation, less tapped upon horror genre. I
should fucking root out our fucking unused Quiet Place special and fucking air it. Yeah, man, because that was fucking hilarious. It just it's a little bit of audio issues. Just if anyone ever does this, but I think I might just fucking release it. I think I have the master. If I have the master file there, I'll have a check.
But like but this was something what came away after seeing something so completely new, and I also felt, and this might be cocky, of course, but I felt actually new, and not because my experience is not the experience. Yeah, my cinematic experience is not the cinematic experience. But I think I wager my pinky that I actually think this was just something that you could just say was completely new by any spectrum, by any metric, or if not, at least the very least, taken to the nth degree. Yeah, nobody has created something on the scale of stop motion that he has created. Yeah, and it was a fucking ride. Like, it was a trip. So I suppose all I can do to see us out is reverse Uno card you, and you answer your own question.
Yeah, like for me, the biggest thing that I thought it was trying to convey was the kind of the pointlessness of life, and also how we kind of were destroying the world around us as well. Like, you know what I mean? That seems to be of course. It seems to be a big thing, and I think it's hilarious coming from someone that came from the generation that destroyed the world around us. But whatever. Yeah, but apart from that, like.
The cheek of us.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like, the generation before us, dude, we didn't destroy the fucking world. You know what I mean? Like, there's a couple of generations before us to hold the blame for that motherfucker. But like, for me, I think my favorite part of the whole movie was just the fucking visuals. Like, I love steampunk. I love that kind of look, and I love I love post-apocalyptic worlds taken to the fucking absolute utter extreme. And that's what he did. Like, he took the medium to its utter extreme, and he also took that kind of form of storytelling to its utter extreme in terms of the post-apocalyptic steampunk kind of fucking weird kind of that kind of industrialized landscape. You know what I mean? It shows you, like, it's kind of like there's no greenery left in the world, there's no life left in the world, and all there is industry. And all life does is support industry. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of what it was trying to, the conveyance of it to me. That
and it's fleeting. I mean, that is the only thing recycled is life. Whatever those things were.
All we are is food and fuel, pretty much. Like, that's kind of what it is for the world around us, because that's what we are. Think about, I could live 70 years, I could live 80 years, I have all these fantastic memories, all these fucking magnificent experiences throughout my life, lived thousands of days on this earth, seen all these incredible things. the end of the day, I'm going to be food and fuel for the world. Like when I die, I'm going to be food and fuel. And that's kind of what the message of this movie is, maybe. That no matter how long we live, whether it's a day or 70 or 100 years, and in the end of the day, we're food and fuel for the world around us. And maybe that's what Mad God is about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that is actually, I think you really touched upon something.
Yeah.
The chaos, the worst case scenario imagined through the eyes of an artist, you know?
Yeah. See, this people, why it's so important to talk about movies, because I think we have a way better understanding of Mad God now than we had when we watched it, just by fucking talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, that's talk about your problems, people. Problem shared, it's a problem halved. And that's what we did with Mad God. It was a problem for the two of us, a little bit of a problem for us to understand. But what we did, came into the MDK studios, we sat down, we shared our problem, we halved our problem. Now we understand Mad God. I'm your host.
Completely and totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any Mad God questions, just get in touch with it's Vincent Green.
Yeah. Vincent Green at Phil Tippet. Sorry, motherfuckers. Before we get out of here, I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel and Vinnie.
And that was Invasion of Potty Snatchers, and that was Mad God. And if you haven't seen it, you shouldn't be listening to this episode. And if we ruined it for you, it's your own fault, because
it's on you. That's right. It's on
you should be watching these fucking movies, because you know this is how the show runs.
Yeah,
see you next time, motherfuckers. Peace.
Pieces.
Yo, she bitch. Let's go.